G'day guys, Clint Adams here recording episode 12 of The Full Landscape with Chris Collingwood from APG, Adelaide Property and Gardens. In this episode, we talk about his role as General Manager, what he does within the business, and the business being a not-for-profit and how that impacts the business in the market and the employees. So hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Y'all ready to turn it up tonight?
Thank you for joining us, Chris.
That's all right.
We're sitting here with Chris Collingwood from APG, which is Adelaide Property and Gardens.
Yep.
Which has had a few different names over the last 5 or 10 years. It's always owned Adelaide Property and Gardens.
It's always been Adelaide Property and Gardens, or APG.
Yep.
Obviously, we're part of the Bedford group, so we're the horticultural landscape division of Bedford. So
What percentage of the Bedford group would be that, like as far as even employees or turnover? Like, is it a big part?
we turn over about 9.5 million.
Just
year,
in the whole company?
Just in APG alone.
Okay.
We're probably one of the big three from a business unit area of Bedford.
As far as...
we got manufacturing,
Yep.
and we've got packaging as well, and then obviously APG. So
And then there's other kind of micro
there's other smaller
businesses
stuff,
inside that.
within it. So
And what does APG cover, like construction and maintenance?
we do both construction and maintenance. Originally it was landscape maintenance, so amenity horticulture, but now we've moved into construction, concreting, everything. So
And what's your role there?
I'm the general manager there. So
Of
APG.
Of APG.
So there's a couple of general managers associated with the commercial areas of Bedford. And when I say commercial, it's still a not-for-profit organisation, but most of our money that we make goes into other areas that don't make money, such as the day options, respite care for people with disabilities and stuff like that.
So how did this all come about? I'm assuming some nice, intelligent people at some point went, let's make a business that makes money to help other people, or...
Look, I suppose I'll do it from the APG point of view. APG was sort of started 1984 from a need to maintain Bedford's own properties.
Because you had that much.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and from that, the next step was trying to get out and about in the community. People started talking about, options with regards to, smaller other grounds maintenance things we might be able to do.
Yep.
And then, small things like the Longsdale Bus Depot.
So people keep asking, and then you're like, we can do that.
We can do that.
Yep.
It started to evolve. Lonsdale Bus Depot, 1985, I reckon it was.
And you've still got that?
Yeah, we do it here and there.
Yep.
It's one of our smaller contracts these days, but it's still there. And then, things such as Anzac Highway, went out, got that.
As in the medium strip?
The medium strip, when it was all beautifully irrigated, with dripper hoses and what have you. But the other thing, we asked for a bit of an opportunity or a volunteer, do some grounds maintenance for the housing trust.
Yep.
So there was a couple of flats and units that we started to look after.
As a volunteer thing? As
a volunteer thing, just to give our guys the opportunity and some training and stuff like that. So that's probably where it evolved from. And slowly but surely over the years, we started to tender on stuff. And
so in those early days, I guess obviously the business has employees with disabilities, employees without disabilities.
Yep. It's a integrated model in a big way. So
50-50? Like, is it even a number you can put on it? Like...
APG's probably, we got 150, probably roughly 150 people with disability we have in our division. Probably about 40 trades. So
so it's still a high
support. So it's not a bad ratio, and I guess the ratios change depending on what type of work we've got going on. So
and like any business, the employees that are available to the business, I guess.
Yep.
So how did you get involved? How long have you worked for the company, and did you start out as a general manager, or did you come in?
No, I came in as just an ops manager down south. I was at a previous company, National Horticultural Maintenance and Landscaping. I was there for probably about 7-8 years.
In SA?
In SA.
Yep.
And then sort of sat there thinking, it's got to be something more. I'm not sure about working for the man, so to speak.
Yep.
Opportunity came up at APG. Had a chat to the manager at the time, and I don't know, got a warm fuzzy about trying to help people and the money actually going to a greater cause.
Rather than just some kind of ivory tower.
Pretty much, I guess, from my point of view, it's about giving back to the community and filling a need. Basically, I work to make sure that there's other opportunities for people with disability and what have you, versus working hard to give someone
Porsche.
a Porsche. So
The Porsche. It's always the Porsche.
pretty much.
So you're not originally from SA, or you?
No, I'm SA born.
Yep.
Born and bred. So
So how did you come to become a Collingwood fan? Is it just because it's your last name?
no, well, I suppose I'm a Nord fan as well. So, but if you go back over the years before the AFL,
Yep.
Played for Hope Valley Football Club. So there was a whole pile of Nord people.
That's crazy.
Hope Valley went to
That's
Nord.
my closest footy club to my house.
Yeah. Yep. So, and most of the people that were any good with Nord went to Collingwood back in the VFL days.
Because that was just that.
That was that transition.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean the name's there, but
Yep.
it's more along the lines of following you.
That history, and not just changing because a new club starts in Adelaide and that's your club.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think I guess Collingwood more than any other club. Once that's your club, that's your club. Like,
Oh yeah.
You are
There's no in between.
there's no moving.
No.
So did you? Was there an education? Did you finish and go to university, or did you finish your high school, whatever?
Well, I finished high school.
And went straight into work,
Kind of.
give or take.
Give or take.
For anyone listening.
there was a couple of wayward years here and there, to
Yep.
be honest. But I did the first 12 months of architectural drafting back in the day.
Yep.
And then moved into horticulture, did a trade in horticulture, and then thought this might be something else.
So what was the plan? You're going to go into architecture, or
Initially I was going to go into architecture, and I was trying to cram the first 2 years into the first 12 months, but probably needed a break from study. So
yeah?
and then did have that break from study and sort of got a few casual jobs here and there, and then went to horticulture, did my trade through the local government scheme, so I got a bit of variety, and was sitting on a ride-on mower and thought, I wonder what else there is, and ended up going to uni and doing a Bachelor of Education. So,
Okay, so you've got that.
I've got that,
Yep.
yeah. So something to one day fall back on when I grow up.
Well, I mean, you can go teach English in Japan with something like that. Like,
Right.
there's a lot of diversity once you've got a degree.
There is. So.
If that's what was of interest, but I guess there's got to be some parallels there that you've done that, and that you're working where you're working.
Oh,
I mean,
it certainly helps us, I guess, but
Not directly, but
no.
when you're teaching, because I get from what I can. I mean, I've obviously dealt with the business for a long time. You can see that there's a lot of education. Like, there's a lot of nurturing your younger staff, and obviously staff with disabilities, as well as even to the point of staff that have come from other corporates that have been taught not APG way. So there's always that education, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So being a non-for-profit, there's obviously pros and cons. Is there anything that stands out as a massive pro? Obviously, helping people was something that drew you to it.
Yeah.
Are there other pros?
I think, from our point of view, we're probably one of the biggest disability support organisations. The not-for-profit is, we're not for profit, but we're not for loss. So it's a real weird business and a business
it's
model.
not called. It's called not for profit because it's your company structure, not your business goal.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So the pros are that obviously there's a deep sense of job satisfaction.
Yep.
And I think that's with a lot of people that work for us. But I guess the cons, I'm not sure about some of the cons, to be honest.
Yep.
I think some of the cons, it's probably similar to any other business.
Yep.
So.
Just perceptions and
Pretty much. That's probably the biggest thing, is the perception. But I think it's a perception of people with disability and their ability.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's the one thing that comes up if I talk about APG, because APG are a large client of ours and a long-term client of ours. And, I'll be in a meeting with someone and they'll be like, and I'll say something, they'll be like, oh, aren't they just a business with disability employees? I'm like, nah, not at all. Like, if you look at the scale of work that is being done by the company and the ability more than the disability, they're on a level playing field. And that's what I asked you that question, because I guess I was trying to lead towards that. There's that market perception of the disability more than the ability.
Yeah. Look, I think we've evolved over the last 10 years since I've been there as well. We've got a great team, and I think we've gone from the basic amenity horticulture and diversified into the landscaping and stuff like that. But it's a totally different model from where it was. Our landscape team are highly qualified trades. We've just integrated people with disability into the landscape division, probably in a different ratio to, say, the amenity horticulture. So, amenity horticulture, we might have a supervisor training, guiding people with disability, for a team of 4 versus, our landscape division, we've probably got, 15, 20 guys that might have, 4 or 5 people with disability. So the ratios are different, which is really good. It's the closest, it's open employment for those guys. And that's the true goal, is to try and
because
get
they're not hired as, like we expect 0.8 or 0.7 of an effort from you. They're open employment.
Pretty much, yeah.
And so is there a kind of a funnel from horticulture into the landscaping? Is that like you pick your staff from... Do you know what I mean? Like, is there I guess a desire for them to work in the landscaping more than the horticulture, or it's like anything? Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. If I look at our employees, the people with disabilities, and what have you, there's always going to be people that are going to be the lawnmower operators. There's always going to be people
they love it.
They love it, and there's always going to be guys that prefer the amenity horticulture, and maybe that's probably where they're going to reach. We have people that require that extra bit of attention, support and care to get into that horticulture, versus the landscaping is a little bit heavier and a little bit more full on. But
it's not the same every day as well, is it? Like, there can be a lot of repetitive operations. And I guess there's some personalities that will fall in love with knowing what they're doing every day. Like there's no unknown, there's no anxiety around. What are we doing tomorrow? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think we have a couple of team members that do like that repetitiveness, and it suits probably where they are in their life anyway. Even catching the bus and set things, it has to be consistent. So. And that's fine. That's what we're all about anyway. So.
And treating them as an individual rather than trying to make them fit your mould.
Absolutely.
So outside of the not-for-profit and the people with disability, is there anything that sets you guys apart from the other commercial landscapers that people might not know of? Like,
I guess what sets us apart is our ability to probably do life of project. We'll start it. We'll go in there before anybody else and start doing the clean-up works or something like that, or even the litter.
The crews for that,
Pretty much, we've got the capacity, the crews, and then going into perhaps the construction side of things, and then the landscape maintenance afterwards. And it goes beyond that. What we can offer is the peripherals of stuff that's probably not even linked to horticulture. So we can get a relationship going that goes from the amenity horticulture, the landscape construction, the building it, the maintaining it, and then we can do the stuff that goes that little bit further with other relationships within Bedford and stuff like that. So
an example of that would be a subdivision like Lightsview, or where you build a relationship with a developer and
pretty much. I mean, Lightsview is probably a good example. We started back. It was probably our apprenticeship with landscaping was with CIC, that's now Pete, and we got involved with CIC when they were doing Sunday Estate many moons ago, and
down at Aldinga.
At Aldinga, and we were pulling out olive trees for them, or we were pulling out old fences for
just
them,
the work
and slashing blocks
initially,
way before the first road was going in. And then it slowly evolved with the slashing of the blocks for them, because obviously people can envisage their house a lot better if the block's slashed and it looks neat and tidy. And we started to work closely with them, and they saw the benefits of working with an organisation like us, and giving back to the community and what have you.
It's good, isn't it, when because it enables them, like when you've got a corporate partner like that's more flexible, and you're actually having a conversation about it before you're doing it.
Pretty much.
And you can go, well, if we did this, would you do that? Like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Where it's not just you tendering and hoping that
you'll
work it out later.
Yeah. And from that came, we're a registered training organisation. So we've offered certificates in horticulture as well internally. And then we evolved into just doing small front yards, landscaping at Aldinga, and started doing a few streetscapes.
Like house and land package front yards, where they'd say, well, we need to do it for this price, and then you're like, yeah, we can do that.
Based on, pretty much. But it's very similar to what's out there in a lot of other areas, for the house and land packages. But we won that deal and put a proposal together, and that was a really good training ground. We talked before about perhaps repetitiveness and stability and stuff like that. It was perfect for our employees to actually.
I've seen some of the pride in the faces of the guys that have done those jobs as well. Like, they really care about that work and they're really happy with the result. I remember there was a photo shoot down at Playford. The guys, some of the guys that work for you brought me up there. They were in the messenger and they're showing me the photo. And
absolutely.
It's good to see that, you know, because it could, I guess, people with disability, because it could easily fall through the cracks and just, I guess, do nothing. And it's great to see, like, they genuinely give a shit about what they're doing and they genuinely are excited to be at work and they're doing purposeful work. Like, it's not just mow that empty block of land out there because we've made it to mow for you to keep you busy. Like, this is actually...
This is proper commercial.
It needed
work.
to be done. Like, So, it's SA based only at the moment, Bedford, or is there?
Bedford is we're in New South Wales now.
Yep.
Going back, we amalgamated with Phoenix, another South Australian disability organisation. We've just recently amalgamated with High City in Victoria, Melbourne. So, you know, we've got 2 factories in New South Wales now, or warehouses.
Making stuff?
More about packing and pick and pack and what have you. So from a horticultural point of view, High City's got a grounds maintenance area in Victoria. It's something that, you know, we'll probably work closely with the new team members there and try and see what opportunities are in Victoria as well. So see what we can do to help them.
It could work very well for when we open our first shop in Victoria. You obviously deal with a lot of employees. Do you interview the people that are coming in, or do you kind of have a HR department that takes care of that?
We've got a HR department. I suppose the employees. We you know, our terminology is employees. Obviously, the supported employees. Yep. So
there's employees and supported employees.
Or there's staff. For this conversation, you know, we have staff and we have supported employees. So I interview staff. And the supported employees, there's a process linked with our HR department and obviously the onboarding with, you know, our personal training officers and stuff like that. So a lot of the time, people might be sitting at home on a disability support pension, or the parents have said they want an opportunity for their child. So they'll come and have a chat and go through the school, you know, onboarding, work experience, stuff like that, and go through a program. And more often than not, you know, people either choose to work in packaging or manufacturing with the furniture.
So that kind of have like a job discussion to find out what's going to be most suitable for their skill set and their desires, or
it's probably more desires. It's like, what do you want?
What do you want to do? What would make you come to work each day?
And we don't have an issue with people coming to work each day. You know, I can tell you a story about when I first started. There was an employee that wanted to be there before me each time. You know?
So he just wanted to know what time you were going to be there. So
he wanted to beat me. So, and it got to the point where, you know, 7:30s went to 7 o'clock, went to 6:30s, went to... And I thought, I'll keep going. And, you know, 4:45 in the morning, he's asleep on the front porch. And it's like, no, that's it. You start at 7:30, mate. So, but he just wanted to make sure he was first through the door.
Just because that's something he'd decided that he wanted.
So
is there an interview question that you ask your staff that is something that you would ask in every interview? Like, do you kind of customise these interviews? Do you...
Absolutely, we totally customise it.
So if you're sitting down with a new estimator, you'll prepare for that in advance. This is more me selfishly trying to more be curious about like your interview process. I'm very sporadic and ad hoc. I don't usually prepare for job interviews.
We prepare to a certain extent, but there's always the core things. You know, why Bedford? What do you know about Bedford? Why? What's interested you to come to Bedford? Obviously, there's sometimes there's a stigma or a concern if people haven't had any experience with, you know, or any involvement with people with disability. So it's always nice to try and find out why they might have applied initially, and then after that, it's fairly casual in the sense of what are they hoping to get out of the role, where they see themselves, where they want to head, what they want to do, and then we start tailoring that role as well to a certain extent, because this is a two-way thing.
Because you want talent.
We want talent.
And they want a job. Or they want a purposeful employment.
I think that's the bottom line for us. There's a lot of people come in and they want the purposeful employment once they've probably reached a certain point in their career, and they just start looking and going, well, there's got to be something else. You know, I still want to have that commercial feel. I still want to be involved in the industry. I still want, you know, all the normal stuff. But I think they just start looking a little bit deeper within about, well, what am I doing it for?
Yeah.
So generally speaking, that's the reason most people come on board. I in all honesty, probably going back a few years, we were struggling to get people because it was actually trying to explain to people, we are in a commercial environment. There's opportunity for you there. We're pumping out some great work and delivering. The byproduct is we're actually supporting people with disability.
Yeah.
It's no different anywhere else.
But that's what you're doing with your profits. It's, and it's funny because it's really easy to say, this is what we're going to do, just come on board. But the only thing that really matters is this is what we've done.
Yeah.
And then they say, now I'm interested. And I think that now enough water's gone under the bridge for your company that people with talent, the people that you want in the company, are seeing that you're doing that and you're doing that and you're doing that. And there's also the other added advantage that there's support for people with disability.
Absolutely.
So, are you an Apple or an Android user? I didn't see your phone before.
I'm Apple way down, unfortunately.
All in?
All in, from the watch to the
unfortunately
laptop.
As well. So do you feel restricted? You don't seem like the kind of guy that likes to be told what to do.
I'm not sure. Sometimes I wonder with Apple, but anyway.
You're too far in.
Yeah. Too much music.
Yeah. We can. He's Apple. I won't talk to him about it.
Yeah.
If someone wanted your job in 10 years from now, what should they be doing now?
My job. Not planning, I'd say.
Yeah. Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Just what?
My path was a little bit weird. I never thought I'd be in this position, to be honest.
Yeah.
I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Maybe a fireman, I'm not sure. But it's just one of those things that you just evolve as you go along.
Yeah. I completely get that. It's I guess the audience that we have listening are landscapers or people obviously interested in the landscape market, and I try to ask questions that might bring value to people that are listening. And if you can think, maybe there's people that are running their own business that have got a 1 or 2 person crew that they're just like, I don't know, like I'm up every night doing this, and I'm arguing with my wife because we haven't been paid by that client, and maybe that their pathway is more to work in a management position in a company like yours, or there's a kid at school who's like, I really want to help people, but I don't want to go down the standard path of working in a nursing home or childcare or whatever. So
it's small steps, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think you just got to take a little bite and see, and get the feel for it and see what you think. Don't go all in. You don't have to climb the ladder.
And go to a 5-year uni course to become a business manager, and then hope that you'll get the job.
Exactly. And starting from the ground up, in all honesty, I think that was probably the best thing for me. To a certain extent, over the years, it's always nice to go back and start working with the guys and trying to, find, your times. It helps with your estimating and stuff like that as well, for example.
It's not always practical, but
it's not.
I think it's really important. If you've got nothing else going on, like nothing in your head, you're not worried about a tender closing or a board meeting or whatever else is happening, to be able to just go work the counter. When you're trying to do that and worry about the stuff that's happening in the back of your mind, you really can't give it your fullest attention. But
absolutely,
I
think the higher up you go and the more management type role, you seem to be you take on board other stuff that's not core business. I mean, from my point of view,
you can't.
It's a bigger picture for me with the whole of Bedford. The strategic plan. We're not just one silo within Bedford. We're the one Bedford. That's our value. I'm talking to the guys that are in packaging. You talk about issues that are very common there, and we talk about problem solving in the manufacturing. We talk. The end result for us when we're reviewing monthly results and stuff like that, it's as one business unit or as one group for the general managers and stuff like that. And then you got to take a step back and start going back and seeing your team. For example, an APG, which are a great team and really, they run their own show.
I think you've
very
got
well.
The best team I've seen you have for over the years.
It's taken a year, taken a little while to build up, but they're probably the strongest. We don't have a lot of staff turnover at all. They're very once the guys are in, they're relatively.
It's the onboarding that's the challenge, isn't it? I mean,
pretty much.
There's a lot of parallels here. Like I've got the best team I've ever had, and I don't have very much staff turnover either. It's just you can't rush into those hires, and I mean, for the right talent, you'll create a job. I don't know. You probably have in the past, but if someone you're like, I'd like that person in our company because I know they bring value, you'll make a job for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it's just that getting them in the door
And I think, you're talking about the turnover. Generally speaking, what I've found over the years is there's always one role that has a high turnover, and that's when you sit back and start looking at that particular role and what it involves, saying, well, okay, why have we got such a big turnover on that one particular role?
Yep.
So then you got to start
What would
reviewing.
an example be in your business?
It probably depends. Sometimes it's concreting.
Yep.
A role for a concreter.
Do you have employed concreters?
We've got concreters on the books. We've got a full concrete team.
And that was a contracted position at a point?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd go out to subbies, or we'd, our landscaping wouldn't involve the pathworks pending. We'd try and get it back to the civil guys or stuff like that. So now, we've got a concrete division that we, have set up.
That's only a recent thing.
It's fairly recent.
Yep.
It was just one of those chats over a coffee that we sort of said we should probably look at it.
It's so good having those relationships, and I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. And we've got a client like that who, in addition to you guys, because you are a client like that as well, but we'll say, look, we're looking at rolling out this software, or I'm thinking of starting up a different way of supplying irrigation, which I won't talk about now, but what are your thoughts? And they're like, look, we can get behind that financially. Like, if you need a job to trial that on, let's do it on this job, because this is important to us to have that delivery. So it's kind of like we talked about earlier in the podcast. If you can have someone say, we're with you on that, if you want to trial it, we'll give you the guaranteed first 50 grand order to support that. It's so good, and I think that only comes with time. Like, you can't.
Well, it comes with relationships.
Yeah, which obviously is tied in with that time. I mean, you could build a really good relationship with someone in 6 months, but the relationships you have are 5 to 10 year relationships with a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
There's no awkward silence when they walk into the room. It's just, hey, how you been? Like, what can we do for each other?
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So if you mentioned, like, you're not sure what you want to be when you grow up, in all seriousness, if you just flicked a switch right now and changed jobs, you had the full education and you were in a position that you wanted to, what would you switch over to?
Probably running my own business, but not in the industry, I'd say.
Yep. But not sure what.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, whether or not it would be a product supplier or a services base or a whatever. It's funny. I think about. I mean, I don't know the answer to that question either. I really enjoy business, but it doesn't necessarily have to be irrigation. I'm enjoying this business, and I couldn't think of anything else. But like, I don't know, world travel vlog, like travel blogger or something. Like, we're just in a new country every week, and just take. I wouldn't be able to be a blogger. I don't write, but
for my thing's always been the chase.
Yeah,
so it's over the years it's been the tender writing or the transitioning of a contract.
But once you get used to that,
and you get used to it, but the chase. I've won this contract. I've won that one.
Yep.
Sometimes it gets a little bit monotonous. Obviously, I've been in this role or with APG for 10 years. Previous to that, 7 years. But it's funny seeing the same contracts come up for renewal for every couple of years here and there. And if it's not us that wins it, it's someone else that that you've been involved with, closely. And you think, well, we'll probably get it back in 3 years' time. It's just the nature of the industry, the business, and stuff like that. So
I think that you must have started with APG at the same time I opened this, because we're pushing close to 10 years now. And I can listening to you, there's so many parallels around the companies and even us personally, because I'm the same. I'm like, I really enjoyed tendering for that job, but these guys just won the biggest job we've ever had, and I had nothing to do with it, but very little to do with it. And I prefer that. Now I'm at the next level, nurturing those guys to be able to do it, and and then I look forward to the point where I don't even know about it, and then I'm at a board meeting and someone goes, "Oh, we just won that," and you had nothing to do with it, except maybe some stupid video that someone caught. What's something that people should know about APG?
They should know.
I mean, we've covered a lot of that, and it's a question that I prepared last night, so you might have already answered.
I guess people need to understand that there's this perception that we don't pay people a lot of money.
Yep.
And when I say people, the supported employees.
Oh, like there's some kind of kickback,
and there's some sort of kickbacks, and we're going dirt cheap to everybody else, and we've got a competitive edge because we can go in so cheap. Well, it's not true. I'll give you the example is, and if we talk about just the amenity horticulture, it's going to take 2 guys, a ute and a ride-on mower to mow a reserve and maintain it. for us, it's going to take us a $70,000 dual cab truck
Yep.
with multiple pieces of equipment.
Yep.
3 brush cutters, 2 ride-on mowers, and a support and a supervisor that supports the guys. So
Yep.
our overheads are massive compared to even our competitors. So
Yep.
by the
So a
time
commercial competitor with no not-for-profit status.
pretty much.
Yep.
So our hourly rate or whatever we charge and what we do is probably on par with industry anyway, because of what we have to set up and what we have to do to ensure that our guys can feel like they're gainfully employed, and they are.
So that they're safe, they're doing the right job, and they're achieving the same result.
Pretty much.
Commercially. So you obviously still got a commercial requirement to achieve these results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, from a safety point of view, we'd be, we're at the top of our game. We have to over-engineer, over-analyse everything just because of who our
Are you guys
employees
insured by work cover, or are you at the point where you're self-insured?
Self-insured.
Yeah. So that's serious shit.
It's very serious. Yeah.
Like the only other company that we deal with that's self-insured is Philmac.
Yeah.
And I've seen their systems and their safety, and you walk into their warehouse and touch anything and the whole thing shuts down. Like it's just lift up a gate or
over the last 2 years we've stepped up with regards to the safety and the project safety plans and stuff like that has just been massive, and I think it's a push from some of our clients.
Yep.
Their history of dealing with civil contractors and the level at what's expected with civil is flowing through to the landscape construction is just amazing. It's been a great learning curve for all of us.
Well, sadly for the landscape construction market, it's never been given the same respect as civil construction from a ability to do work, and this is not even just included inside your business, but the value of a tradesperson per hour and all that stuff. It's only natural that with that, I guess, with the push from the landscape industry to be taken more seriously, there's going to be obviously sides where if you want to be more serious, your safety needs to be more serious, and your your JSAs and your policies and all that has to come up to that, so that then in the market you're worth more money per hour because you're now on a level playing field with civil or even plumbers and electricians. And
well, it's funny you say that, because if you look at plumbers, electricians, and let's say landscapers, you can be a landscaper, you can get a package from Holden's, for example, go buy a ute trailer, get it, stick it up beautifully, and you've got the rough idea on having a plant put in the ground and all the rest of it, and suddenly you're a landscaper. You can't, if you're a plumber, you can't just go and buy a pipe cleaner and then suddenly you're a plumber.
No.
So
and that's something that the Master Landscapers Association are really pushing to try and clean up.
I think it's great.
To then enable the landscapers to be seen with more respect in a way, because it's licensed and it's not just trailer and shovel and off you go. So it's good that you mentioned the safety side of things, because obviously it's going to highlight to these guys that want to earn more money per hour and want to be respected, that you need to come to your end of the party as well and say, well,
absolutely,
from this we're also going to do that. So obviously you guys don't fit that. You're not on that end of the market at all, but it's good that you mentioned it. So outside of work, what do you do to be happy? Do you have any hobbies?
Wherever possible, I try and jump on a bike here and there, mountain bike.
Yep.
Living up in the hills, it's always good.
Yep.
So,
cross country or downhill?
Oh no, I'm too old for downhill. When you fall off, you don't get back up. No, you don't get back up, and you don't heal as quick. So those days are over. So other than that, muck around with the kids here and there.
Yep.
So,
and because you've got a young child and a
I've got a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old. So, and one in between.
So you definitely, you don't want to be hurting yourself, but you need to stay fit. What's a belief that you have inside your business or your role that might contradict other people in your same role?
That's a good one. My belief is probably no matter what it is, we could probably achieve it.
Yep.
And I guess in my role, my belief is if I don't think we can do it, I'd probably say 75% of 80% of the team I've got right now will work out a way of doing it and have an argument to say that they can do it. So, sometimes it's more the beliefs I have versus the rest of the team. Sometimes it's always good to have that challenge and see the people a little bit differently. So
fair enough. I've got a bunch of probably they're not super relevant to the role, but they're interesting questions that I wanted to ask you. What's your favourite colour?
Probably red.
If you were able to put a billboard anywhere in the world, where would you put it and what would you write on it?
This is very similar to a tree question, I reckon, that you've had previously.
The DK will be liking these ones.
Yeah, very random, mate. Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, you could put a billboard anywhere in the world. Where would you put it? You can remove the location and just put the message on there if you want.
Yeah. I have no idea. It's not something I've ever thought of.
It's all right. It wasn't meant to be. Do you have a quote or mantra that you live by?
No.
Do you read?
Occasionally.
Audiobooks?
I read a bit. Some of the stranger things, the trivial stuff.
Yep.
So,
podcasts?
Well, recently, I wanted to see what I was in for today. So.
You weren't prepared for these last ones?
Nah.
If you could take 6 months off work and go study anything right now,
yep,
money's covered, location, everything, what would you study? And that could be music, martial arts, education. Is there anything that's sat there in the back of your mind over your life that you've gone, I really wish I did that?
For a bit of fun, I'd probably do a barber.
Become a barber, like do the barber.
Do the barber thing.
I like that. It'd be good. I think it would be handy for me. I've got 2 sons, both 5 and 1, and it's $25 for a boy's haircut where we go.
Yeah, don't worry. Once they get to 13, they don't want haircuts, so you're fine.
Okay, so I just put that money aside.
Yeah,
beautiful, man. That is everything that I wanted to talk about with you today. I really appreciate you coming in. Is there a message or anything that you want to throw? You've got an audience here, a question you want to ask people, or anything that you want to finish with? Have you got anything you need that you're promoting at the moment inside Bedford, APG?
We're always looking for people.
Yep.
Always. I think, I'd like everyone to understand the simple fact is we're a commercial business.
Yep.
That operates wholly and solely to put money back into Bedford itself, to give opportunity to other people with disabilities that, these areas that don't make money within Bedford. The proof's in the pudding with regards to some of our service delivery and what we actually install. I'll go. An example is winning that Master Landscapers Award a couple of years ago. Best install, over 500,000.
Yep.
The beauty of that was, and I think that was the turning point for us, was the fact that the judges didn't know we installed it.
That's the whole purpose of that, isn't it? That they don't know who did it. Yep.
So when people found out it was APG and what we're all about, that's probably bring us back to an even playing field.
Well, to wicked. It's not like you won the best not-for-profit landscape award.
Exactly.
It was judged in open market. So,
and I think the only other thing I want to get out to people is, if you're not sure about working with people with disability, come and have a chat anyway, because it's probably not what you think.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
And
to
any
what
conversation with you in strict confidence. I know.
Absolutely.
I've witnessed onboarding and not onboarding, and I know that if anyone's working in a commercial situation where they're not happy, or even a non-commercial situation, I guess, if they are their own business owner or they're looking for a change, a conversation's free.
Yep.
And confidential.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Thank you so much for coming in, mate.
Thanks, mate.